Okay, now see your head, and you can include your shoulders if you like, holographically. And I'm using this image as a starting point, as a visual aid if you need it. And although you may want to choose a white background, and your head doesn't have to be a blue color. You can choose a golden color, a violet color, whatever comes to you. Now look at just the outside area, sort of like along your skin or hair, and allow your higher mind to show you any kind of funny looking shape that typically presents itself as a dark gray or black color, and it could be any shape or form, and really use the background, the white background and the holographic color of your head. Use that in a sense to expose this, whatever it is that you need to clear. It could be some black plasma that looks like a tail or a very long thin vortex, or whatever form it may take, sort of coming out of your head on one side or above, or on the left side or right side, whatever the case may be. Because the CMEs are forcing stuff out, and it's causing our non-physical bodies to become punctured with holes, or peppered with holes, or become very porous. And so you don't have to use an image like this. Your mind already knows how to present itself. You just have to focus internally. And if you see any kind of thing, it could be an entity or just black plasma or etheric infection, light it up into white light. And again, for the sake of contrast in color and being able to see what you're transmitting, you can change the background color from white to an indigo, as one example, or a violet, or a dark green. It doesn't matter. And then watch that thing that you're transmuting just disappear, leaving that nice color of your choice in the background. And now look into your inside your brain, okay? And again, I'm just using this. This is from the third eye activation system as a guide. If you're the kind that struggles to visualize, you can use something like this as a starting point. Just replace this man's face with your face. Have a quick, and the trick to doing this is quickness. Do it casually, because your higher mind, your psychic mind, already knows what's there. You just have to pay attention. Again, choose whatever color works for you in terms of the holographic, non-physical aspect of your head, and then seeing into it holographically. You don't have to have a brain there at all. You don't have to see a brain there at all. It just helps the rational mind sometimes to see this holographic image of a brain. And look for any either little portals, although the higher mind, as always, shows it much bigger than what it really is, just for the sake of being able to see it. Or maybe a little critter, little entity here and there, because they exist at a microscopic level, like the size of actual physical parasites and worms and bacteria that we all have in our guts, for example. Your high mind will show up bigger. And if you see something, turn it into white light and then watch it disappear, leaving that beautiful holographic color that you've of your choice. And sometimes it can be an implant, and sometimes portals and implants look very similar, just a little black dot or black sphere with, a bit of muck, creepy crawlers or garbage around it. So it might look like a bit of a haze with a more solid dark color in the middle of it. Whatever. Turn it into white light, watch it disappear. And now check for one more thing. And if there's nothing there, or if there is there, you can pause this video. If there's nothing there, go to the surface of your head. Your hair, your skin, obviously the non-physical aspects. And don't be too fussed about whether it's the astral head or the etheric head or plasma head or mental or emotional. You're setting your intention to look for any kind of injury or damage on whichever non-physical body you're dealing with. And if you see any blackness, darkness, quite often there's like that trail, like a tail or something, a long thin thing sometimes there. And if you transmute that and then make sure there's no holes or a rough, porous kind of surface on that part of your head where that thing was coming out of or attached to, and just light up. Again, play around with background colors. It's important to learn to do this. It's a very powerful technique. Change the background color of that part of your head into something that'll contrast the white transmutation light, if it helps. Light it up and then sort of increase the light and think in terms of, or so-called imagine or visualize that white light shrinking in size on the surface of your head and leaving behind an intact non-physical surface of your non-physical head, whether it's skin or hair or whatever. And really, you don't have to visualize your hair at all. You can leave your hair out and just visualize, your scalp as if you were bald, just to make things easier, to make it easier to do this. And just shrink that light, getting smaller and smaller, leaving behind, healthy, intact skin or non-physical equivalent of healthy skin, for example. And just close it up and just watch it turn into a small dot and it disappears. So you've closed that off. And now just do a little bit of a zoom out, a slight zoom out, and make sure the outer auric membrane in that corresponding part of your head is also sealed. And if it's not, just do a quick visual, use white light to seal that up using the same technique I just described for the head. And once you're done, again, hit pause at any time. Move on to if your emotions have been really out of control, it could be a sign that an old wounding or soul fragment retrieval is up and causing havoc. It isn't just leaving seamlessly. But you may not always have to do an actual session where you have to sit down and do a proper soul fragment retrieval kind of healing, which is certainly deep enough. Have a go, just for this moment, at zooming out and look at your chest area. Again, do it quickly and casually, ironically, as if you don't care. And see if there's anything of a dark nature inside your chest. Okay, again, it'll often appear bigger than what it actually is for the sake of you being able to do this very clever but powerful energy surgery. And light it up into white light. Again, change the background colors of your holographic body or the background, what you know, or what's behind your holographic body. Always play around with those colors so you can make out the white transmutational light a lot more. And just hold your focus for another 5-10 seconds and watch it disappear, leaving behind a healthy, intact chest area. And see how you go with this, because, and I've developed this technique because the free learning how to transmute on the fly, learning how to transmute negative entities on the fly, that's more for an external interference. But these CMEs are really forcing internal stuff up, and it's sort of kind of like creating a bursting of the seams kind of a situation on our bodies, non-physical bodies, and auric membranes, and leaving damage, and then the external darkness comes in and wreaks even more havoc. So make sure you use this technique. Hit the pause button. Make sure your whole auric membrane is intact. There's no holes or it's not porous. That the rest of your non-physical body is intact and doesn't have holes or porous in any area. If it is, just use the same technique. And this is more appropriate for our current situation, especially when it comes to 2022, where the internal stuff is really being forced up. And you can get this down to 5 or 10 minutes after a little bit of practice. Do it in the morning before you start your day. And of course, clean your field from any external entities using the How to Transmute on the Fly 5-minute audio as well. So that your system gets used to this, and you're much better adjusted to these very serious and very destabilizing detox symptoms that CMEs are now forcing. Okay, there's no getting away with it anymore. And play around with it. Ironically, don't take it too seriously. Be a little light and casual and quick. Okay, the old adage, the less you try, the easier it is. And this will really help your day get started on a much higher timeline than what it otherwise would. So really worthwhile, and big hugs from the unknown light warrior.